Okay, here we go. Okay, so I am going to show a few study tips. These are coming from tutors in different areas. So let me advance my slide. So I want to introduce, we've got Jonathan C. from the Math Lab. He's an online tutor this term. Jonathan, you want to wave? I believe we can see your screen. We've got Stacy. She is an online tutor in the Writing Center. Stacy doesn't have video connectivity right now, but she's with us live and is going to be able to chat in with us. And then we've also got Ben. He's an online tutor with the Technology Tutors. So what I wanted to do was pick the brains of some of these tutors to just get an idea of what is one study technique that they have found to be helpful, what is one piece of advice that they would give to students, and then how does tutoring work for each of the subject areas that they help with. So I'm going to start with math and ask Jonathan, what is one study skill that you would suggest? And Jonathan has already kind of prepared his notes. That's why we've got some bullet points here. But Jonathan, you want to talk a little bit about some study skills that you suggest?
Yeah, so with everything being online and needing to spend a lot more time in front of a computer, I think it's important for us to remember to take breaks. Taking breaks gives us the chance to kind of wind down and refresh ourselves after trying to crank out a lot of schoolwork in a long period of time. So I personally have a hard time spending time on homework. So taking periodic breaks for me has been a really good way for me to kind of maintain my motivation and kind of be able to still process everything that's going on. So even if you have to take like 5-10 minute breaks during a 3-hour study session, I think that's really good, and you should be doing that because just coming back to it gives you a really good chance to process it more. And going for a walk, grabbing a snack, watching a bit of YouTube, or whatever works for you, I think helps really make a big difference when you come back to studying.
Definitely, thank you. And then one other question I asked was, what kind of advice would you have for students?
Yeah, so because we're kind of in unsure times, and this is probably most of our first term being fully online, things are still being worked out even as we approach the end of the term. So I think it's important not to be afraid to ask questions during this time. So this goes for just about anything. If you're confused about homework, you can contact your instructor just to kind of have them rephrase the material just so you have a better idea of what they're looking for, or you can come to me or any of the other tutors who are available for the various subjects that we offer for.
Great. Can you talk a little bit about how students can get connected with a math tutor such as yourself?
Yeah, so students have an option of either getting tutoring online by appointment or during select drop-in hours. Tutoring sessions can last anywhere between 5 minutes to an hour or more. During these sessions, students can ask questions about their homework or just about any math-related material they have. And when it comes to actually working through a problem, typically we go through it using Zoom's built-in screen share option and the annotate feature so that we can kind of drop on the screen the problem and kind of go through it together, or go through similar examples or anything else that really helps kind of nail in those concepts.
Great. I know we offer a lot of different math classes through CCC. Are you able to help with some really basic questions or maybe more advanced questions? How does that work?
Yeah, so most of the tutors are pretty capable of tutoring just about any of the math classes that we offer, down from like math 10 or 20 all the way up until the higher levels of calculus that are taught at CCC.
Great. And I know we can make appointments. I think they're usually different amounts of time. Is it okay if I make an appointment, have a real quick question, and then just end the appointment early? Does that happen very often?
That happens from time to time. It's pretty much just for however much time you need, as long as there's not any appointments immediately afterwards. Or if there's like sometimes during the drop-in hours, there's a couple students at a time who have questions, so I have to cycle through them. But as long as you're getting the help you need, then there's pretty much a lot of accommodations we can do for that.
Great.
With regards to time.
All right. And I'll show everyone how WC Online works in a little bit, but that's the main program that we use to connect with math tutors, all of our tutors really. So great. Okay, thanks, Jonathan.
Of course.
So want to chat a little bit with Stacy. So as I was saying, the video isn't working for her as well. So I'm just going to chat with her a little bit. But what I asked her was the same question: what are some study skills that she would suggest? And I've got here on this chat. I think it should be visible to everybody. So some of the things that she suggested was set up a study environment, set up that WC Online account that we talked about earlier, and then make use of some tools. So so she's chatting in. Even when we're not in a pandemic, it's a good idea to find what makes you focus. So for some of you, maybe it's music. Others, it's helpful just to have an absolute quiet environment. If you do set up a WC Online, you'll have access to the Dial Learning Center tutors, all of the tutors that are here now, and we even have some science and some other ones. But it's really important just to know that these resources are out here for everyone and that they're free. Stacy, I know I'm ad-libbing a little bit here, but yeah, I appreciate your input and these prepared remarks. I have another question. So what kind of advice would you give for students? Stacey's saying every hour, get up, take a drink of water, walk while practicing some deep breathing exercises, kind of like what Jonathan was saying of taking a break. It's easy to tense up during prolonged sitting, so it's a good idea to get up. It's also easy to lose track of time, so make sure that you set reminders and different timers. That way you're just not I feel sometimes personally when I'm working on something, I can just get lost in it and I'm not making the best use of time. So setting timers is a great way of helping that. And then Stacy, I want to ask, what kinds of things can a writing tutor help with? So as she's typing up her response, students can access the writing tutors through WC Online. There's two ways of doing that. It's either through an e-tutoring where you submit a paper and a tutor will read your paper, make comments, and send it back to you. And then there's also another real-time option. It's called online tutoring. And that's kind of a chat feature where a writing center tutor can type back and forth. They can connect you. I think there's a video and microphone option in that as well. All of our writing appointments are an hour long, but same kind of thing with math is you don't need to use up the whole time. If you have a quick question, it's fine to make an appointment and then you can leave early. So some of the things that writing tutors can help with, let's see here. So a writing tutor won't do the editing for you. They'll give you suggestions. There'll be guides. They'll help guide you. They might ask follow-up questions. Maybe a sentence like, what do you mean by this? Can you clarify? It's a good place to ask questions, a good way you can brainstorm. So it doesn't have to be just final pieces of your paper. It can be the very beginning stages of understanding the assignment and what you're working on. Tutors can help find resources. That's a really important thing with writing, is making sure that you are backing up your ideas with actual resources. Let's see here, it moved on me. Sometimes if you can make an appointment in WC Online, and sometimes it's helpful to use that chat feature to actually connect on a Zoom call. That way you can share a screen or share a Google Doc. So there's a lot of different ways that you can connect and work with a Writing Center tutor, but the way to get set up is through WC Online. Yeah, so she says we're here for every part of the process from start to finish. Great. Oh, one other thing that we wanted to point out is appointments. You can make them as far in advance as you'd like throughout the term, but you can also, if there's an appointment a couple minutes before it begins, you can drop right in and work with a tutor then. So you don't have to plan way out. You can just go to WC Online and basically do a drop-in appointment. Okay, thanks, Stacy. So let's see here, Ben's with us.
Hello.
So Ben, what are some study skills that you would suggest for students?
The thing that I found really helpful this term in particular, and I think this will carry over to when we're continuing online, is setting what I call at school times. When you're kind of in a more familiar environment and you're at a computer that you maybe also use for recreation and things like that, it's really easy to get distracted. So it's nice to be able to set time for yourself to be like, I'm focused. I am in an academic environment. It also gives you the ability, if people come in to just talk, or if you're using certain things, a lot of people in the technology classes use Discord to communicate, and that's also used for gaming. So if you have friends messaging you, you can be like, I can't talk right now, I'm at school or I'm in class. You kind of have this easy out for kind of evading disruptions. It also helps you sort of adjust your mindset and bring focus to yourself. There is data to suggest that staying on campus helps students perform better, and that has been the case for me as well. And so not having that structured time in a home environment was really detrimental to me at the very start of this term. And so purposely building this kind of mindset of, okay, from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, I'm on campus, I'm going to be doing this assignment, and building your week that way has really helped me kind of emulate that being in an academic environment. So I think that'll be helpful for some people.
Great, definitely. That is one of the hard things is a lot of us are stuck in our house and don't have a lot of different stages, different places to work, and that crossover between school and life can get so blurred. So I think that's a really good point. And then a piece of advice you'd give to students?
One of the biggest would be proactive in getting help. We really are here to just kind of assist you. We aren't necessarily the last stop. I've worked with a lot of people, I work specifically with coding people, and it's very natural to spend 10 hours beating your head against a wall, trying to figure out this thing yourself, and then coming and getting help. And it's, either a small misunderstanding, or it's this small link, or it just takes one other person looking at it to kind of solve this issue. And so you don't necessarily have to have, really tried every avenue to get help. We're here to help at kind of any stage. And another thing is, it's okay to come to us confused. If you are intimidated of how to even start a project, and you're looking at this and you've spent an hour looking over it and you don't even know where to start, you can bring it to us and we can go, okay, well, let's look at what sort of things you're trying to solve for, and we can help break it down into manageable pieces. Because when you're handed a big project, it can seem really overwhelming. And then having people who have gone through it, and not necessarily here to solve the problem entirely, but just to kind of help walk you through it, it can help things be less intimidating and make more sense.
Great. You touched on quite a bit of different stages and different ways technology tutors can help. I think one thing I want to highlight is there are a lot of things technology tutors can help with that students may not be aware of, be it Moodle support, or there's a email issue, a Clackamas email issue. Can you talk a little bit about, so you specifically tutor CS, we have some other technology tutors that help with business computing and have taken a lot of business classes. Can you talk a little bit about what kinds of things you could help a specific CS student that would come to you for help?
Yeah, so for computer science stuff, like I mentioned earlier, it can be breaking down a bigger assignment into pieces, but it also, I've come to people who are at the end of the project and they're like, hey, I think I'm getting the right output, but I need some help. Can you just, help troubleshoot this with me? Or they have a function that isn't doing exactly what they need. And we can sit there and spend 30 minutes just kind of going line by line, figuring out, one semicolon can trip the whole thing up. So having somebody else to be a second set of eyes can make things really, really fast, and much less stressful when it's something simple like that. But really hard to see by yourself. And then for all of the other stuff, I mean, I do coding, but I also help people with like submitting Moodle assignments, figuring out what other sort of contacts, if you have a question and I can't help you directly, we can connect you with resources that can. So we're kind of one of the first places to kind of ask for that kind of stuff. And we can help with Excel, Word, pretty much any kind of business computing thing. Because sometimes it's not the assignment that's the hard part. It's navigating a program you're unfamiliar with. And so we're not necessarily experts in every program, but we're definitely willing to sit there with you and help navigate the support forums and things like that to get you used to and over that kind of technology hump. So we're really there just as a resource to kind of help lean on and support you wherever you need.
That's great. Yeah. I want to touch on something that you said. If you don't know the answer, you may know how to find either department-wise, maybe there's someone who can help a student find something, an advising question or something like that. But that's something I want to point out, that all of our tutors, so like Jonathan is a math tutor, he's probably only taken a certain number of math classes. He may not have taken, I don't know, a trig class or something, but he would know other math tutors that would have taken that. So if he doesn't know the answer, then he could probably recommend somebody else. Same with Stacy in the Writing Center. We've got ESL we have ESL tutors that Stacy may not have the resources to help with some of those specific questions, but she would know who to go to. So that's great. And then just like our other tutoring ways of accessing is through WC Online. So I want to take a few minutes to show how students can get started in WC Online. One other thing I wanted to point out real quick is we have tutoring in all of these areas. Math also has some science tutors as well. But we, as a college, also have a program called Smart Thinking, that there's additional hours offered, maybe at different times when students can't reach one of our tutors. There's additional subjects. So if there's a question in the class that we don't have tutoring for through WC Online, students can access Smart Thinking and access some tutors that are beyond CCC. And the way students can find that is logging into their Moodle under the Academic Support and Essentials. This website also walks through a little bit on how students can get started with Smart Thinking. So our main webpage to find all of this is clackamas.edu/tutoring. That will have information on WC Online. Smart Thinking, like I was talking about, you can find that on clackamas.edu, Smart Thinking. And My WC Online, you can find links to it from our tutor page, but the direct link is here, clackamas.mywconline. Here's our email. If you have questions about any of this or just want to get some help just getting started, you can email here, call us 503-594-6191. We also have a live chat where you can chat in questions. Same kind of thing, maybe you just want a little bit of help getting set up in MyWC Online. So lots of resources. We'll make sure that these links will be accessible in the video. But I want to show just real quick what MyWC Online looks like. So clackamas.mywconline.com. If this is the very first time that you've used this site, you have to register for an account. There's some easy directions right here that students can click on, and we'll walk through how to set up an account. So that's real easy, it's right in there. And then also just links for getting help either through email or on our live chat. I'm just gonna sign in under my name real quick and show what it looks like for a registered user. So the first thing I want to point out is our writing tutors are found under this link. Our math tutors and science are found under this link. And then our technology, accounting, business, and computer science and Moodle help is found in this link. I want to focus real quick on the math and science tutoring because there's a second filter here that will help you find if you're in a particular math class. You can filter all of our tutors through here. Maybe you're in an engineering class and need to help with that. I'm going to say I'm in a Math 252 course. And what this does is it filters and shows me all of the available tutors that have taken that class and when they're available. So let's see here, today there's a few appointments that are available in the afternoon. So I can just click on a tutor here and make an appointment. For writing, it's a very similar setup. All of these tutors can help, but I just wanted to show the difference between online and e-tutoring. So if I wanted to make an appointment, let's say for Friday morning with Dylan, I can click on that link and then I can either schedule an e-tutoring appointment. What that means is I upload a paper. So I'm working on a writing assignment. I can upload it and then Dylan will go through and give me some suggestions on how I can change it and make it a better paper. And I can come back to at the same time after 10 o'clock, and I'll be able to see the comments that he made. And that's one approach. The other one is if I schedule an online appointment, I can still upload my document, and then in real time, I'd be able to come back, click start or join online consultation, and then I'll be able to chat with Dylan in real time about my paper. This is just our website where all of those links are found. So I think I'm going to leave this up for just a second, and then I'm going to give it over back to Felicia, who's going to demonstrate a little bit more about some of the tools that she has. So I'm going to stop my screen share.
There was one thing I wanted to add to that with
sure.
the math tutoring. There is also a select amount of hours where it's drop-in tutoring, so you don't have to make an appointment. You can just click on that slot and just click join the Zoom link.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and that's under a couple of the select tutors names, and I think it's from most weekdays from 10 to 4 or 5-ish. But I don't remember exactly. But yeah,
that's a good point. I believe that's posted on WC Online. I think it says drop-in appointments. And it'll say the times that those tutors are available, and they just show up and it's a Zoom conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Stacy wanted to remind me that if you are, to mention that if you're gonna submit a paper, it's really important that you also submit the instructor's assignment. So that way the tutor can have both your copy of what you've been working on, and then also know what your instructor's looking, what the requirements are, so then they can help you tailor your paper to make sure that you're hitting all the important parts. Anything else from the tutors? Do you have any other comments? Those are helpful reminders. Great.